Hi guys, this is Ava from Bay Harbor Med Spa, and I want to talk about balding men today. And I want to share with you guys, particularly all the balding men out there, something that might perhaps help you and solve your problem or solve your embarrassment. You know, guys, that in today's era, in the last 8 years, 5 years, 10 years, it is actually very common and very becoming for men to shave their head to be bald. But I know that there actually is not a big difference between men and women when you start losing hair. When you start losing hair on your head, um, it's a big problem and it's a big down and it's a big embarrassment. And a lot of men try to disguise it. And from my point, from an aesthetic point of view, I think that many times when men, particularly older men, do this old-fashioned thing where they let their hair here grow long, they have no hair here, and then they take the hair and they do this. And they try to cover with their hair that they have here, the baldness here. Doesn't look right, looks silly, looks forced, and they put brillantina or gel or oil and they smooth it and smoosh it down so it looks as if they have hair. Guys, let me just share some information, at least some good information for you that you should understand that it is okay for men to lose hair, and that actually we know from studies and from statistics that if young men in their 20s, and a lot of young men in their 20s start getting bald, it's either receding the hairline here or start getting bald here. The good news of the story is, the bad news is, okay, you are starting to get bald. The good news is, do you know why you guys get bald at a very young age? What is the significance, or what happens, or why you are losing hair? Well, I have good news. It's because when it's at a very young age, you guys have excessive, higher testosterone levels than guys per se that are not balding. So if you have in your late teens or early 20s, you start losing hair, you notice here or here that you are balding. The good news is that you should know that majority of people today know that the reason for this is because you guys have excessive higher level of testosterone. So macho guys, you know what happens with testosterone, you know that goes ahead of you. Testosterone means your sex life must be that much better or that much more colorful, because you have the desire, you have the need, perhaps more than somebody who doesn't lose their hair. And studies prove when you take blood work and test, the testosterone levels of young men who lose their hair show higher. Now, medicine doesn't know yet why you lose hair here, why the high level of testosterone affects the follicle here. We don't know that. We just know that it does, and that you lose your hair, but then you gain it somewhere else. So, take your battle. So you say, okay, well, I lose it here, but I gain it somewhere else below my waist line. So great. So you should at least feel like, okay, I'm losing hair here, but I have a reputation. I'm the guy on the block. My sex life must be quite colorful, because they know that I perhaps require, as a guy, more sex than my friend who has a full head of hair. So that's a good part. Now, let's be serious. Although I was serious about this part of your hormones and of your sex life, that's actually factual. So it's not something that I'm joking about. However, here's what I want to say. If you are balding and you are 30 and suddenly you find yourself having absolutely no hair here. And you have just a little bit of hair here, and then you have just hair at the bottom from the neck like 2 inches up. So you have hair at the bottom of your head, but you are totally bald here. And either you do shave every day, or you don't shave but you are annoyed because you think that you look silly with this part being all bald and then just having hair. So I have good solution for you. If you live in South Florida, you come and look me up. I am in Bay Harbor, and I do laser hair removal. And laser hair removal for balding men is a wonderful solution because it will eliminate the few hairs that you have left for good. It won't happen overnight. It's a long process, and it's quite painful process. However, you do it for a year and a half, and you will get rid of the few hairs that you have in the back and here on the side, and you will never have to shave. That is the plus side of it, and that will make you eliminate or the necessity to shaving, to be annoyed with it, or to look silly, where you have just a little bit of hair here and no hair here. And if you are thinking, oh, but I shouldn't go and I shouldn't do laser because maybe my hair will come back. Well, let me tell you something, guys. Unless you are determined to go for hair transplant, okay, and you have only a balding spot here, or balding, let's say, this much, like my hand is, and you have hair in the rest of your head, then you are a good candidate for hair transplant. I can assure you, if you are bald, nothing will ever grow from here. Where the follicles are dead, they are dead. The only way that these follicles, not these follicles, but that you will be able to get hair is to do transplants. And for that, you should see transplant specialist. Then definitely you don't want to come to see me. But again, if you are 3/4 bald, then transplant wouldn't be for you, because I don't think you would have enough viable follicles to take and transplant them all over your head. Because with transplant, you simply take living follicles and move them to dead places where they. So if you have a little bit of hair left, it won't be enough to transplant that to areas where you have no hair. So here's your calculation. If you are more than 60% bald, then you should, and it bothers you shaving every day, then you should consider permanent laser hair removal. If you are 40%, under 50%, so 40%, 30% bald, and you think you would like to have more hair, then transplant is an option for you. So that's where you wait. So it's either get rid of the few hairs that you have, or get a transplant and get hairs. But you have to have, in my humble opinion, at least 50% or 45% of your head has to have viable hairs, viable follicles, for you to be a suitable candidate for transplant. Otherwise, you are a candidate for me, and I can get rid of your hair. And remember, was Yul Brynner a very good-looking man? And he was bald. I think he actually started the era of men being bald. So remember, bald at a young age means great sex life, great sex, great stamina, but you lose it here. Bald in your 50s or in your 40s, as long as your hair is dark, it's just a process of life. And if you are missing more than 60%, you are bald more than 60%, then you are a perfect candidate for laser hair removal. Or if you are bald less than that and you want to do transplant, then you are a candidate for hair transplant. So I gave you my answer now. I hope that I made some guys out there very, very happy with my information. Bye, guys. Ava.